since you and I last spoke, this whole debate has probably been moved on a long way by the extraordinary developments in AI and what looks like, on the one hand, an almost limitless possibility for developing artificial intelligence way beyond the simple, if multi-factored sort of intelligence that we were talking about a couple of years ago, to perhaps even genuine artificial intelligence. But more than that, I think we're truly frightened too by where this might end up. Where do you see, since we last talked over the last couple of years, the whole AI thing has gone and is going?
Yes, well, because of that extremely rapid, accelerated development, I've actually written a new book which, in a sense, replaces 2084. It's twice as long, which rather indicates that in the past 4 years, things have changed, and there are really scary things about it. I think this would be the beginning of another conversation, really. But one of the main issues, I think, is to realize what someone said recently was we need to be worried, first of all, about what the AI that's currently working, about the ethical problems it leads to. And they are very scary. And the one that scares people most is deception. Now, this is what I'm talking about here, are deep fakes.
Yes.
And you, as a former politician, will know how risky that is. And here we are in 2024, when roughly half the world is going to the vote in elections of one kind or another. The potential of that is so scary that the Five Eyes, that is Australia, New Zealand, Canada, UK, and USA, their top security people have been discussing this. And it's very interesting that the thing that worries them most is deepfake impersonation. And quoting one of them, billions of people will have no idea what the truth is. Now, that is serious stuff.
Yes.
And that concerns me because that's the world that my grandchildren are going to grow up in, and yours too. And it is really scary. And that is not the sci-fi stuff of creating a super intelligence, whether that ever happens or not. There's no sign of it yet. That's the stuff that we are already deploying. And I just am amazed reading the Douglas Murray's book, War on the West, that here in the West, we're decrying ourselves and doing ourselves down, and we're told to do that. You must respect every culture other than your own. There's no other culture in the world that's doing that.
No.
And that leads to a very dangerous situation, that where we criticize the human rights in China among the Uyghurs, and the society of surveillance there is just terrifying what's happening. They just say, well, look, what about your own record? You yourselves are saying that you're rotten to the core historically. That is a very worrying development to my mind. And it's the stuff that's already working, let alone anything that could happen in the future, which I think is of less concern because it has a huge amount of speculation attached to it. Remember that God, in his wisdom, has coupled intelligence with consciousness. Now, people talk about creating a conscious machine, but I say, what is consciousness? Nobody has the least idea.
And whose consciousness?
Yes, they're talking hot air, quite frankly. We don't know what it is, which is an amazing thing. We all know that we're conscious, but what is consciousness? Well, if you don't know what it is, you're certainly not going to be able to build it. And there are lots of reasons for thinking that that is likely to be logically impossible, but that's, again, another development. What has really, I think, alarmed me in the last 4 years is, first of all, the intrusion of surveillance technology and its sophistication. It is very sophisticated now. And the danger of the argument, you want peace and safety, will you give up your freedom? Which is being used frequently all over the place. And all the ethical problems created by narrow AI in that area of surveillance, but also in the quality of the impersonation stuff. I've had a deep fake made of me, and they showed it to me. It was so convincing, it was scary.
That is terrifying.
And it just costs a few dollars, to make. And what are our children being led into with many educational establishments full of all kinds of very strange, relativistic, woke, everything else notions, where truth is getting pushed to the edge. And you can believe what you like.